Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the presentation on the paper Exploring Spatial Patterns in Sustainable Integrated Districts, a Methodology for Early Phase Urban Network Analysis, written by Srikant et al., published at 2022 ANSIM. I am ID 2224138 SM Rakib Hassan. My ST Apu is Farah Binte Haq and RA is Muhammad Humayun Kabir Mehdi sir. So about this paper, it explores spatial patterns in sustainable integrated districts using social network analysis based on graph theory. It's motivated by the need to understand how the spatial configuration of urban districts affects their sustainability and livability. It aims to propose a new methodology for early phase analysis of large urban spatial networks using two social network analysis methods, space syntax and SNUMMETS, or spatial network analysis for multimodal urban transport. The study also hypothesizes that social network analysis can reveal the spatial patterns and characteristics of urban districts that influence their performance and potential for integration. About the previous works, the paper reviews the literature on urban network analysis, which is a branch of urban studies that uses network theory and methods to analyze urban systems. It identifies two main approaches to urban network analysis, topological and multimodal. It discusses the advantages and disadvantages of each approach and their applications to urban planning and design. The research highlights the gap in the literature on integrating both approaches to capture pedestrian movement patterns more comprehensively. The scope of this study is vast as it addresses the research gap by introducing a new methodology that combines both topological and multimodal approaches to urban network analysis. It argues that this methodology can provide a more holistic and nuanced understanding of urban spatial networks and their impacts on urban sustainability and livability. It also argues that this methodology can support early phase decision making and design interventions for sustainable integrated districts. It defines sustainable integrated districts as urban districts that aim to achieve environmental, social, and economic sustainability through spatial integration. The dataset which was used in this paper uses spatial data from various sources such as OpenStreetMap, Google Maps API, and Singapore Land Authority, which contain information on the land use, street network, building footprint, green space, and public transport network for One North. It also pre-processes and cleans the spatial data using GIS software and Python scripts to ensure data quality and consistency. The paper divides One North into 16 subzones based on administrative boundaries and land use characteristics. The study selects 4 subzones as representative samples for detailed analysis: Biopolis, Fusionpolis, Mediapolis, and Vista Exchange. The methodology adopted in this paper creates two spatial network models for One North, one based on space syntax and one based on SNUMMETS. The space syntax model uses axial lines to represent the connectivity and accessibility of urban spaces. The axial lines are generated using depth map software based on an algorithm that minimizes the number of lines needed to cover all street segments in One North. The axial lines are then assigned weights based on their length and angle. This numbers model uses nodes and links to represent the hierarchy and diversity of urban transport modes. The nodes are generated using Google Maps API based on the locations of public transport stops in One North. The links are generated using Python scripts based on their shortest paths between nodes using different transport modes. The links are then assigned weights based on their distance, travel time, cost, and mode preference. Both models are converted into adjacency matrices using Python scripts to facilitate social network analysis calculations. The results obtained from the experiments are two methods: origin destination metrics and IN, which is immediate neighbor metrics, were used to analyze the pedestrian flows in One North. The OD metrics method showed significantly higher node degree within a 400-meter radius compared to the IN adjacency method, indicating it captures more pedestrian connections. IN adjacency method highlighted road intersections as critical connectors, which did not align with observations. Certain nodes like Connexus, Galaxy's Food Court, One North Park South, and Fusionpolis Plaza were key connectors in the IN graph but not in the OD graph. The OD graph displayed higher closeness centrality values for most nodes, reflecting pedestrian behavior more efficiently. The OD metrics method was deemed better suited for studying One North's pedestrian movement. Both methods revealed dense mixed-use clusters at Fusionopolis, Biopolis, and Mediapolis, which were selected for further spatial network analysis. About the limitations of this research, this paper uses static spatial data that may not match the dynamic urban networks. The spatial data may have errors, changes, or variations that affect the analysis quality and reliability. It assumes a linear link between SNA matrices and urban performance without other factors. The SNA matrices may have complex or diverse effects on urban performance depending on the context, objectives, or other factors. The future scope is to use more dynamic or diverse spatial data, such as from mobile phone or GPS tracking, which can provide more realistic and timely information on urban networks and behavior. Another future scope is to include other spatial indicators, such as density, diversity, or efficiency, which can capture more aspects of urban sustainability and livability. In conclusion, the paper concludes that the SNA methodology can reveal the spatial patterns and characteristics of One North that influence its sustainability and livability. It also finds that One North has a high degree of connectivity and accessibility within its subzones, but a low degree of integration across its subzones. It also finds that One North has a high diversity of land use and transport modes, but a low hierarchy of transport modes. Finally, it suggests that urban planners and designers can use this methodology and findings to inform spatial planning and design interventions that can enhance the integration and performance of OneNote. That's all from my side. Thank you for your patience. Assalamu alaikum.